Hello everyone, welcome back to Ash's Reading Adventure. Today we are reading The Little Witch Hazel, A Year in the Forest by Phoebe Wahl. Spring and the Orphaned Egg. One afternoon, as Little Witch Hazel made her way home, she found something peculiar. An orphaned egg, the little witch thought. After waiting a while to see if anyone would come and claim it, Little Witch Hazel decided to roll the egg home. After looking and listening and a few taps, Little Witch Hazel made a nest for the egg by the fire and went to bed. When she awoke, there was a poof of a bird staring at her. "Good morning." Bleep. The poof was an owl, and his name was Otis. Otis grew quickly. It wasn't long before he was too large to stay indoors. It was much harder for Little Witch Hazel to keep an eye on Otis when he lived outside. "You'll be hearing about this at the next Mosswood community meeting. Otis, it is not polite to eat the neighbors." Otis ate the mole. Very soon, Otis began experimenting with jumps, and flaps, and glides. Until finally, he was ready to fly. Little Witch Hazel nestled into Otis's feathers as he soared smoothly and silently through the night. She loved the feeling of the cool breeze rippling through her hair and flapping her cloak. With Otis, Hazel could see the forest in ways she never had before. But Little Witch Hazel knew their time together was running out, for Otis was a wild thing who belonged with other owls. One evening, she watched as he swooped into the forest, where another owl waited.
Yuck, no owl.
Their faces glowing like twin moons in the gathering dark. Two owls.
Oh, Hazel.
The next morning, when Little Witch Hazel brought Otis his breakfast, he was nowhere to be seen.
Oh, what is this?
He left as mysteriously and suddenly as he had arrived, as wild things often do. So Little Witch Hazel blew a kiss to the sky and hoped that someday they would meet again.
The end.
Now it's summer in the lazy day. It was the most beautiful day of the summer, and Little Witch Hazel was busy. She had a million things to do, and it didn't help that everyone else in the forest seemed to be out enjoying the day. "Some of us have errands to run," she muttered as she went to return her library books. But it appeared the librarian was on holiday. So it seemed was the post gnome, whom Little Witch Hazel found napping in the sun when she tried to send a package. Hazel was sure that the cobbler would be open. She was always in her shop, and the little witch needed her boots before autumn came. But to her surprise, the cobbler was, too, out for the day. With a sigh, Little Witch Hazel headed off on her next errand. Thimbleberries needed picking, and they, at least, would not be taking the day off. As she picked, a boat full of elves bobbed past on the nearby stream. "Hop aboard," one of them called. "Join the party." "I don't have time," Hazel replied grumpily. Was she the only one in the whole forest who wasn't relaxing? The sun was beating down, and Little Witch Hazel was starting to get hot when she heard another shout from the stream. This time it was Wendell and Nadine. "Join us," they called. The little witch looked at the clear, cool, bubbling water. "I really shouldn't." She looked at her friends' smiling faces. "Well," she said, "maybe just for a little while," and she hopped on, berries and all. "Where are we going?" Little Witch Hazel asked. "Oh, nowhere in particular," said Nadine. The stream opened out into a pond, and Wendell, who was an accomplished sailor, steered their raft into the open water. Other small boats emerged to bob alongside their own, all full of chattering creatures enjoying the summer day. Don't any of them have things to do? Little Witch Hazel wondered. Oh, I'm sure of it, Wendell replied, but nothing that can't wait until tomorrow. Little Witch Hazel sighed and dipped her feet into the pond. Her whole body seemed to relax as the cool water rushed over her ankles. All of her errands, which had seemed so very urgent, were beginning to feel further and further away. All she had to do was sit and listen and breathe in the fragrant summer air. Look at the pond.
Who dies?
They're on a turtle.
And see.
What a busy, fun summer day. As dusk fell, a faint tune wafted across the breeze. It grew louder as they approached an island where glowing lights were strung between the reeds.
Look, frog.
A frog.
Yeah, a frog is in the pan.
Yeah, it's Wendell. A band was playing, and from their boats, beasts of all shapes and sizes danced and clapped and sang along. The friends were getting hungry, so Wendell dropped an anchor, and they shared a picnic supper while the band played. Nadine unwrapped her tea cakes. Wendell bartered with a nearby gnome for some cheese, and Little Witch Hazel shared her berries. What a yummy snack. It wasn't until the moon rose that Hazel, Wendell, and Nadine began to make their way home, across the now glassy, quiet pond. What a wonderful day, thought Little Witch Hazel contentedly. Perhaps tomorrow I'll get something done. Autumn, the haunted stump. Little Witch Hazel was working in her garden when she first heard the noise. Oh! It was the kind of noise that sent prickles through your whiskers and chilled you right down to your boots. Towering toadstools, thought Little Witch Hazel, a shiver running down her spine. Whatever could that be? A moment later, the Mole Sisters emerged from their hole in a frenzy. "Oh, Little Witch, did you hear that noise?" the sisters cried. "It sounds like the laugh of a hobgoblin robber," squeaked the moles, wringing their paws. "The kind who might steal our collection of rubies, or our stashes of stones, or our caches of geodes." "Well," said Hazel, feeling a bit braver now that she had company, "there is only one way to find out." So together they headed into the woods to find the source of the sound. Soon they came to the mouse's house, where babies' wails joined the eerie howls coming from the forest. Screw! "Have you heard it too?" a frazzled mouse papa said. "My mouselings can't sleep a wink for this terrible racket." "I think it's a sleep sucker out to zap all of our naps." "Well," said Hazel, "come along and find out." "It's an ogre with huge stinky feet. It's a bird with razor-sharp beak." So together Little Witch Hazel, the Mole Sisters, Mouse Papa, and his mouselings headed farther into the forest. Kee-ow! Soon they came across Newt, who was trying to hide under a log. "You better clear off if you know what's good for you," he called. "There's a terrible ghost haunting that stump. A horrible ghoul with long ghostly claws. A long ghostly teeth out to eat little beasts like us." Little Witch Hazel, the Mole Sisters, Mouse Papa, the Mouselings, and Newt all turned to the nearby stump. Sure enough, another howling, yowling, bellowing wail came from within. "Ow!" Little Witch Hazel's heartbeat quickened as she approached the stump. As she grew closer, the noise grew louder. Ooh! Hobgoblins and sleep suckers, birds and ogres, and ghosts swirled inside her mind. Little Witch Hazel flung open the doors, only to find the tiniest tiniest troll she had ever seen. "Oh, hello," said Little Witch Hazel. The noise stopped as the tiny troll stared at the little witch in surprise. "Why were you crying?" Little Witch Hazel asked. "I'm new in town, and I have no one to share my supper with," the tiny troll whispered. "I see," said the little witch. "Well, in that case, I think we can help." So together the neighbors all crowded into the stump for supper. The little creature laid out a very beautiful place setting for each of them. "It's fungus soup with pine needles and moss." The little troll beamed eagerly. "Delicious," they all murmured. "Would you eat that soup?" By the time supper was over, the old stump felt warm and full, and everyone was yawning happily. "Next time you're lonely, just come over and knock," Hazel offered. The tiny troll smiled. And so, with calls of thank you and good night, Little Witch Hazel, the Mole Sisters, Mouse Papa, and the sleeping mouselings, and Newt all headed home through the still and silent forest, content with the knowledge that they had made a new friend. Winter, the blizzard. One crisp winter morning, Little Witch Hazel smelled a certain something in the air. It made her nose tingle. The sky was a dusty shade of peach, and the frozen ground crackled under her boots. What a beautiful day to be out and about, she had thought. First on her rounds were the chipmunks. One of the children had a toothache, probably from biting a frozen nut again. Next time you dig up an acorn, let it thaw first. Next there was a mole with a thorn in his paw. Ouch. And a lonely dryad who just wanted company. And a crow with a frog in his throat. Her day was so busy that Little Witch Hazel hadn't noticed the weather changing. Milky clouds now hung low and heavy in the darkening sky as she ran through the forest to her last patient's house. Mrs. Rabbit had given birth the week before, and the 4 kits were already starting to grow very thin, velvety coats. Little Witch Hazel weighed each bunny and prescribed 2 cups a day of raspberry leaf and nettle tea to the new mother, and packed up her things to head home. Look how cute those baby bunnies are. The warm glow of Rabbit's windows had just faded from view when the first flakes began to fall, under a bright dusting of fresh snow. "I'll be home soon," thought Little Witch Hazel. "I doubt this will keep up for much longer." But it did. Soon the woods were blanketed. Every stump and stone along the familiar route home was now completely obscured under mounds of white. The tall, dark trees whose branches usually danced and swayed in the wind now sagged and creaked under their new coats. Little Witch Hazel shivered. Just keep to the path, she told herself. You can't be far from home now. But the path seemed to have disappeared. Little Witch Hazel suddenly felt very alone, and very cold and very tired. "I'll just rest for a few minutes," she thought, "and then maybe I'll be able to find my way back." Oh no. Then suddenly, just as she had begun to curl up and close her eyes, a huge tawny shape swooped out of the swirling sky and picked her up. The next thing Little Witch Hazel knew, she was soaring through the night, nestled against very warm, very soft, and very familiar feathers. "Otis," whispered Little Witch Hazel. "Ooh," said Otis. He saved her. Otis had no trouble finding home through the swirling, billowing clouds of white. Inside Little Witch Hazel's house, all was warm and safe. Otis tucked her into bed and tucked himself onto his old roost. Then they both slept soundly through the cold winter night.
The end.
You're right. The end.
The end.